Hi, I'm Justin Boyd.
And I'm Brittany Pacheco, and we are the two Watchers in the Basement.
Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement. We are here today to talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. It dropped on November 25th, 2022, just this past Black Friday. It's on Disney Plus. It is the second Marvel Studios special presentation. The first, of course, was Werewolf by Night, which dropped in early October. The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special is about 45 minutes. It is the final entry in Phase 4 of the MCU. And speaking of Phase 4 of the MCU, last week we reviewed all the phases of the MCU, all the films in all the phases. So please go back and give that a watch if you haven't checked it out yet. We put a lot of work into that, and I'm really proud of it. So please go back and check it out. We would appreciate that.
Yes, we would.
Yeah. So, and once again, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, directed by James Gunn, stars Chris Pratt. Bradley Cooper is the voice of Rocket. Groot is Vin Diesel's voice. You have Dave Bautista, Karen Gillan, Michael Rooker, Pom Klementieff. I think how you say your name.
You know what? I don't even try to say her name because I do not want to butcher it.
She's a French actress, I believe, so it's kind of tough for me to say that.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so and there's some other special people we'll get to in a second. But Brittany, before we dive into like our favorite things, Easter eggs, and all that kind of stuff, what's your overall thoughts of the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special?
Well, first, shout out to Nick and Claire all the way over in the UK. Walking with the Woods. Appreciate y'all being here. I know they checked it out. Nick, Claire, be sure to let us know your thoughts about this special presentation from Marvel. So my overall thoughts, being a non-Guardians fan, I actually enjoyed it. The runtime was pretty short, and I was just overall very happy with what we got. And I liked how it was more fixated on two characters that are not typically like in the forefront of Guardians. And the music, I really enjoyed the band, and I know you have some intel about the band. They're from North Texas. They're definitely like more like your speed and sound of music versus like mine, but they sounded really good, and I thought the songs were very entertaining. And overall, this has to be now my favorite Guardians movie because of the runtime.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think it was a great entry to the MCU, and I think it was a great entry to just holiday movies. I think this was a fun, it's not really a movie, it's a special presentation, so it's under an hour, so I wouldn't call it a movie. But
works for me.
Yeah,
Works
it's very well done. I wouldn't say it's my favorite Guardians movie or Guardians thing, because I think the first Guardians movie is pretty genius. But much like the first Guardians movie and really all the Guardians movies, you're right, music played a huge part in this. And yes, the old 97s are a band from Dallas. I went to college in the DFW area, so I'm very familiar with them. They're an alt country kind of pop rock band that is pretty well acclaimed in that area, and apparently they're James Gunn's favorite band. So
hey,
you got them. Yeah, you got them in the movie. Very cool for them.
That's great.
Yeah, the lead singer of the band of the old 97s, his name is Rhett Miller, and his character is given is name checked by Star-Lord, Peter Quill. And I'm not going to attempt the name because there's a lot of K's, a lot of L's, a lot of O's.
It was a lot of syllables,
right. But
in that.
Yeah, the band is decked out in all they're aliens, and they get to play a couple of songs, even one with Kevin Bacon. So that was pretty cool for them.
So Justin,
yeah,
like Claire, who cried, did you also cry during this movie?
I didn't cry, but I thought there was a lot of like emotional stuff. There was like good humor and good emotional stuff, and I thought it was like, honestly, for a special presentation, it's kind of perfect, I think. And I think we're going to see more special presentations on Disney Plus in the future. I mean, in fact, I know they are. There's stuff in the works, and I think that a lot of people were pretty high on Werewolf by Night, which we didn't do a review of. We both watched it. I thought it was cool looking. I mean,
it was different.
It was different.
Yeah.
I think that people are going to want to see more of these than say the series, because the Marvel Plus or the Disney Plus series on Marvel have been, kind of up and down, hit or miss. whereas these two special presentations have been pretty strong, and
Mm-hmm.
they have more of a movie-like quality.
Mm-hmm.
Tell a simpler
Yeah.
story, maybe,
I
um,
agree. I definitely think that there are some of these MCU series that just could have been done as a special presentation. And speaking of which, Yesenia, longtime watchers fan of ours, appreciate you being here. She says she's going to include it in her future Christmas rotation. Die Hard, Nick. You hear that? Die Hard is part of her Christmas rotation. Prep and Landing, also Rise of the Guardians, etc. She also did not cry because there was just too much joy in this movie. And I agree. I think there was a lot of joy in this movie. A lot of great humorous moments, a lot of little Easter eggs. Well, I say a lot, but just a few Easter eggs here and there. But yeah, I really enjoyed this special presentation. I still want to call it a movie, but as a non-Guardians fan, this definitely shot up to like being my favorite overall for the Guardians. And there was one question that it was actually Frank, who unfortunately was not able to join us today. He asked, like, where does this take place? Does this take place like immediately after Endgame, or does this take place after Love and Thunder?
Yep.
And I tend to think
No,
it's
it's
after Love
between
and
Love and
Thunder.
Thunder and the Guardians Volume 3, which comes out in
That's
May.
what I figured.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's great to kind of continue on briefly with their story post Thor and everything. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was just really charming in a way. I love how they ended up decorating the place Nowhere, where
Yep.
they now are kind of like residing and kind of in control of, I guess you could say. And Nick here says we actually have a Die Hard quiz on Thursday. Nick is very positioned to say that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. He just can't get it. And he can't insert British sarcastic tone. That's fabulous. Love it.
My hot take for Die Hard is I don't think it's that great. Like, I've seen it a couple of times. I know people are like the debate about the Christmas movie or not, and
Yeah.
whatever. Like, I think it's kind of overrated. I mean, it's fine.
Just like
but
pineapple on pizza.
Pineapple on pizza is delicious, but we're not going to get into that.
Good.
Okay, let's tackle some of the points here of the Guardian special. So it has an animated opening where we see Yondu, who of course we lost in Guardians Volume 2. But this is when young Peter and Kraglin are talking about Christmas, and Yondu hears about it and he hates Christmas. He hates the idea of Christmas. And so I thought that was kind of neat how they use that animation to open. Of course, they use an animation to close. What are your thoughts on the animation?
I thought the animation was kind of on point, because the fact that when Peter left Earth, or was rather taken from Earth, he was like a young kid in the 80s. And so that kind of reminded me of, something. The animation was kind of like 80s, 90s type style. And I think it was just something that was different. I wasn't expecting to see that kind of animation at all, but I think it's placed appropriately, because you also think of like these classic Christmas type movies that are animated or things like that. So there's like that tie-in. That's how I kind of interpret it. What did you think?
Yeah, no, I just thought it was very creative, and I'm glad it wasn't a full on animated movie. I'm glad animated special. I'm glad it was like a mixture of that. I thought it was a great way to bring Yondu back without having the actor. Of course, Michael Rooker voices Yondu, so it's not like he's not a part of it. But
he's Mary Poppins, y'all.
Yeah, I thought it was a creative way. Obviously the animation is only for let's say 3 or 4 minutes, maybe probably less than that total in the whole runtime. So I thought it was a creative way to open and close the special.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think it was really cute, and I like the bringing back Yondu, because there was that connection obviously between Peter and Yondu that seemed struggled, but it really wasn't. And it was just like a nice callback to the end of, let's say, volume 2, where Yondu says, hey, ego may be your father. He goes, but he ain't your daddy. Like I'm your daddy, right? So even though Peter as a young boy was trying to have Christmas and teach everyone about Christmas. And Yondu, being the dick that he is, he's like, I hate Christmas, destroys the tree, doesn't want the presents, but realizes in the end, what he's done. The gift that Peter gives him is like this. It's not a troll, not like what we see in Volume 1. I can't think of what the toy is. Do you remember what, or do you know what it is, Justin? It's almost like a troll kind
I
of.
think isn't it one of the trolls? Honestly, I don't remember.
In the animation, no, it didn't have the hair, but anyway, you get the idea that
Yeah.
it's this toy thing, and it's probably what kind of kicks off Yondu's obsession with collecting these things, and he in turn gifts Peter Quill his blasters. So I thought that was really touching. It was really sweet.
Yeah, that's the end of it. So let's just we're just gonna kind of bounce around, talk about things we liked. I liked the inclusion of Cosmo the Space Dog, who Cosmo was actually seen in the first two Guardians movies briefly, but the dog doesn't have a voice. This special, it's voiced by Maria Bakalova, who she was in the sequel to the Borat sequel. So I like her. I think she's very funny in the Borat movie, obviously, and you could
I
tell
haven't seen Borat.
it's the second one too. It's not the
I,
first
I
one; it's the second
still
one.
haven't
Yeah,
seen Borat. So
yeah. No, she's great, and I think she's going to be a funny addition to Guardians Volume 3. So I enjoyed that part of it.
mhm.
Um, the Guardians have a new ship now. It's the Bowie.
The
So
Bowie, I
yeah,
love it. I
named after
love it.
David Bowie.
It's great.
Thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I thought we already talked about the old 97s a little bit, but I did like how at the beginning when they're playing a song and they're talking to Peter Quill. I like how they're like, we found these instruments, and so they started playing, and Peter he finishes the song. He's like, you just got these instruments because they play this very elaborate song, and I thought that was really funny. And then
The lyrics in general, because the
yeah,
the lead singer, whose many syllable name I'm not going to attempt to say,
right,
is basically saying like, "Oh yeah, everything that I know about Christmas came from so on and so on, who learned it from you, so I'd rather go to the source. Let me play you the song to see if I got it right about Christmas and Santa Claus and all this stuff." And Peter listens. He's like, "Yeah, that sounds great." Starts walking away, and then they're still like playing, and he's like, "Oh, okay, there's more. Okay, so I'll just stand here and listen." And what
yeah,
was great is then the lyrics start changing to where it sounds like Santa Claus is like this almost demonic type person, and Peter's like, no, this is not right. None of what you're saying is accurate, which is stupid. But I mean, like that bit of it I find very entertaining. And Tristan, in our MCU rankings, our ranking all 30 MCU movies pod, mentioned about how he loves the stupidity that is Guardians of the Galaxy.
mhm.
However, it's stupid, but he needs it in his life. Whereas me, it's kind of like, it's stupid and I don't need it in my life. But with this song, it's like, it's stupid, but it's entertaining and I'm okay with it. you know?
Yeah. No, it was definitely fun, and I like how when after the song, the lead singer is like, "Thank you, nowhere," like thanking the audience, and
He's like, wow, we've never had a crowd like this, like, or
right,
something like that. It's like, dude, you've
yeah,
never played before. What do
yeah.
you expect?
No, that was cool. So let's get into the main crux of the storyline. Basically, Mantis is trying to figure out like the perfect
Perfect
she's
gift
trying to
for
the perfect
Peter.
Christmas gift for Peter. Peter's coming around. Kraglin tells a story about how Yondu basically ruined Christmas for Peter when he was little,
Yeah.
and so Mantis wants to make this the best Christmas ever for Peter because, well, one, he's still suffering from the loss of Gamora, and also she's his sister, or half sister, and meaning
Which,
Mantis is Peter's half sister,
right.
and that's her secret, and Drax knows it, but no one else knows it. So
Right. So on that topic, real quick, and I'm also going to pose this to our watchers here in the live chat. Oh, pardon me. Sorry. But like, was this something that was revealed solely in this special presentation, or was it like hinted at in volume 2? Because one, Volume 2 is not at all my favorite Guardians movie. I mean, I don't care for it at all.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go back to watch it to find out if it was at all hinted about this reveal. But I mean, if that's the big tell, then okay, cool, fine. Like, not surprising. Ego was just a jerk, but how she kind of feels in a way like responsible
Right.
because she doesn't want him to associate her with Ego every single time like he sees her and has bad feelings and what have you, which is understandable. So
Yeah.
she's like, we have to get the most epic gift of life ever
Mhm.
for Peter. And Drax somehow gets roped into this, but he's like just God, Drax. So single like minded about what was it, the nuts that she ate that he wanted or something like that. And he's just not at all listening or just not at all on the same page as Mantis.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The Zarg nuts.
The
Yeah.
Zarg nuts, that's what it was. Yeah, he's like, but
Exactly.
you ate the Zarg nuts. She's like, get over it.
Yeah. And I do think the Mantis stuff, maybe it was kind of hinted a little bit in her being related to Peter in any way. But it wasn't like they didn't beat you over the head with it. I don't think that like I didn't go back and rewatch Guardians Volume 2 because like you, I don't enjoy that movie. But from the
As you
research,
shouldn't.
yeah, from the research I did, I never saw where it was like directly mentioned or it was made a big thing. I think it was made a big thing in this special.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
yeah.
I definitely agree.
Yeah. So yeah, so Drax says, "Hey, we should go get we should give him Kevin Bacon for Christmas because Kevin Bacon is the world's greatest hero, Earth's greatest hero, the galaxy's greatest hero, or whatever." Because that's the person that Peter's talked about his love for Footloose, how Kevin Bacon or Kevin Bacon's character in Footloose uses dancing to save this small town in what is it, Indiana, I think, or whatever.
Yeah.
So that obviously leads to what happens in Guardians 1
Mhm.
where Peter gets in a dance off to save the universe.
Ooh, child.
Yeah. So they're gonna go kidnap Kevin Bacon and bring him back to Peter as a Christmas gift. So that's the crux of the story for
Yeah.
the special. And then we're off and running. And so they're coming to California to Hollywood to try to find Kevin Bacon. I did think it's funny how they're flying in the ship and Drax forgot to turn on the cloaking device. And, you see these people like looking up and they're terrified and they have their phones
Yeah.
out taking videos or photos or whatever. I thought that was a funny touch. And she's like, "Oh, you
Mhm.
forgot to turn the cloaking device on." He's like, "No, I didn't." And it's like, yeah, he just did it right then and there.
Yeah. Like
Um,
very conspicuously.
exactly. And then one of my favorite parts of this whole thing was they're in Hollywood. They're on like near that Man's Chinese Theater.
Yeah, it's not called that anymore, but yeah,
right. It's
where you
right.
see a lot of lookalikes and
Right.
people who
People
dress up as characters
cosplaying, trying to make money. You're right. They're dressed up as Avengers or whatever. And
Yeah, Jack Sparrow,
right.
Disney property.
I like how Drax sees a GoBot and he wants to beat up the GoBot. And for those of y'all who don't know, GoBots were big in the 80s. They were like a Transformer knockoff. And I was a big fan of the GoBots, the cartoons and the toys. I probably had as many GoBots as I had Transformers. So I was a fan of both properties. And then I did a little bit of research and I found out that now Hasbro owns both of them. So, but we haven't seen the GoBots in a while, at least to my knowledge. So
Yeah, I wasn't completely sure what that thing was because that's a
yeah.
little bit before my time. So
Yeah, I didn't remember like any of the characters by their like it wasn't like they didn't have like an Optimus Prime like with
Mm.
Transform or Bumblebee or something like that. But
Oh.
but GoBots were pretty big for my when I was like 5, 6, 7 years old. So
No, that's so
that was
sweet.
pretty cool to see a GoBot. I didn't think I'd ever see a GoBot again. Like I said, we also see people cosplaying as Avengers, and there's a guy dressed up as Captain America. And Mantis sees him. She's like, "Steve," and she runs toward him. And of course, he doesn't know who she is because he's just dressed up like Steve Rogers. He's not Steve
Right.
Rogers.
But then people in turn want to take pictures with
Yeah.
Mantis and Drax and
Right.
like the first time it's kind of like, oh, hi. And then the family father figure tips Mantis and she's like, oh, okay. And then slowly we're starting to collect a little bit more money. And then she's stacking and having a really great time taking photos with these people and showing off all
Yeah.
the money she's got. And then in the
Right.
background, you do see Drax finally beat the snot out of that
GoBot.
GoBot
Yeah.
because I think Mantis had said that a GoBot like killed one of his family members or something like that,
Right.
and so he obviously wants revenge, and he does. He gets
Yeah.
it right. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, by the end of it, it was a great little sequence, especially because she kind of like eyed the girl dressed as Captain Marvel in a way. I don't know if you caught that. She kind of
Yeah.
like looked at her like, ew. And I'm like, okay. But at the end of it, they walk away with like a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jealous.
They left with a lot of cash. And then we see something that you noticed on first viewing. I didn't notice on first viewing. There's a little Easter egg with one of the Eternals characters. Why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, so it's like a really, really quick sort of Easter egg. And for those of you who have watched Eternals, there's a character there named Kingo, who is an Eternal, who is an actor on Earth, makes all these like movies, Bollywood movies, et cetera, et cetera. And as after this sequence where Drax and Mantis go and get all the monies, they're walking at night in the alleyway, and the camera is kind of up where street sign level, and as it starts panning down, you see a poster. It's a vertical poster that says Kingo's Christmas with his face on it, and it pans down, and then you focus back on the characters, and I'm like, oh look, like they have a reference to Eternals and Kingo, and I guess he's okay. I guess like he was brought back by, I don't remember what the Celestial, the thing. I don't remember what the thing was called.
Remember, like he didn't take part in the final battle of that movie. He just kind of bounced. So
no, I know, but at the very end, remember the big being, the Celestial thing, like gets him and the black guy and Cersei, and kind of like is like holding them what maybe is like hostage like. And I remember seeing him then, but it's like, okay, was he able to come back to Earth and continue his life like nothing happened, or what? So, but yeah,
I mean,
there definitely was a Kingo reference.
He's a movie guy, so he's a movie star, so I'm sure a lot of that stuff is in the can. You know what I'm saying? He may have shot the stuff well in advance. Yeah. So
yeah, but when your actor isn't there to do press for it, it's a little concerning. But anyway.
Yeah, that's true. So next thing they do, they go to a bar, and I don't know if you recognize the bartender, but the bartender in this special is a comedian named Flula Borg, and he also appeared.
He was in Pitch Perfect.
Okay, well, he was also in the Suicide Squad, another
no way.
Yeah, James Gunn's DC movie. Of course, now James Gunn is in charge of DC Studios, and he'll be in charge of the DCU, or he is right now. But I thought it was nice how he mixed in, gave Flula Borg another shot after his very brief run in the Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah.
Also, go ahead.
Well, I mean, like I said, I recognized him from Pitch Perfect. He was in the second movie. He was part of this German a cappella group, Das Sound Machine, and he was great in that movie. I just love him. I love his persona. He's hilarious. But yeah, that's not the only kind of DC reference we got in this movie.
No, there's a couple. Yeah,
there's a couple. Yeah,
I'll get to one here in a second.
Sure.
So the Guardians, after like a night of drinking and having fun at the bar, dancing, they it's Drax and Mantis are strung out on the sidewalk, and they realize they still don't know where Kevin Bacon is. So they're like, well, how do we find him? And there's a person who's selling like maps to stars' homes, in California or in LA.
Hollywood.
Yeah. And so Mantis, she doesn't have any money left, so she uses her mind control powers to have the woman give her not only the map, but also all the money the woman has.
$40 for a stars map? Ridiculous.
Well, I mean, if you want to go see where the stars live, I mean, if it's probably not even accurate, but but I did like how on the map, there are two people on the map that also from DC. You have John Cena, who of course is Peacemaker, the Peacemaker series, and he's also from the Suicide Squad movie, one of James Gunn's guys. And also, I think Margot Robbie was one of the people on the star
I think
map.
she was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was hard to tell because it kind of looked like her, but then maybe it wasn't her, but I think it was her.
I think it
Obviously,
was.
Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn in the DC
Hmm.
universe, and she, of course, was also in the Suicide Squad movie with James Gunn. So I
Yeah.
thought that was pretty cool how he kind of, you know, threw a bone to his DC people too.
Hmm.
So that was cool. Um, finally they find, they use the map, they find Kevin Bacon's house, and
Yo, if that's really Kevin Bacon's house, it's amazing. Like, it looks great.
yeah,
I would totally go and stalk his house too and pretty much do whatever it is that Mantis and Drax did.
yeah,
Just
very cool
saying.
place. It's
Yeah.
probably not really his house, but it's
No.
still it's very cool place they used in either Atlanta or LA for this shoot.
Beautifully decorated.
Yeah, so they find the house, and it's in a gated community, no surprise, and Mantis needs to get over the gate. So she asks Drax to toss her. Before she finishes her sentence, he tosses her over, and then he leaps over. And then they, the madness ensues. They break into Kevin Bacon's house and
Why
kidnap
does
him. Or
why does Drax want to steal one of these like outdoor decorations? He's like, I want a little
yeah,
man. It's
I
like,
don't
what?
know. I don't know. Just like the simplest stuff, like appeases him, I guess.
I know. So
But
cute.
anyway, the cops are called. They get into kind of a battle with the Guardians, and Mantis is putting people to sleep left and right with her empath powers,
Mhm.
and the Drax flips over a cop car. It's some crazy like Marvel fun.
The fact that he got shot multiple times by these cops and was, like, laughing about it, and he's like, "Stop it, ha, stop it, stop it, I'm gonna pee my pants," like, is he literally bulletproof? I mean, literally, he's bulletproof,
Yeah, I
but,
think
like
so. Yeah,
that I was surprised as heck with that encounter, and yes, you're right, when he flipped the cop car as it was coming towards him, and he's just laughing about that, I'm like, "Dude, you think violence is that funny?" Like,
yeah,
e quick shout out to Mel from Geeking Out with Melly Mel. She says she hasn't watched Guardians Holiday Special yet. She doubts she will, but here she is, and we appreciate you
yeah.
being here, Mel.
Thanks for checking us out, though. We appreciate it.
Yep.
So they kidnap Kevin Bacon, and they realize that
As
Kevin
one
Bacon,
does.
yeah, he's not the hero that Peter made him out to be. He's just an actor, and they're like, their hatred for actors is like beyond, off the charts. Like Drax's actors are repugnant, and
Yep.
Mantis kind of has a similar feeling.
Oh, the irony.
Yeah, so Mantis basically like uses her powers and makes Kevin Bacon feel like he's a hero. Like, and so he, yeah. So here we get another DC reference where he acts like he's Batman or Bruce Wayne. So once again, we get a Batman or Bruce Wayne reference from a DC property. We had that in Eternals also. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, the kickoff was him being a British soldier in
right,
World War II, which I'm like, okay. I get the hero behind it. Then he's like, I'm Batman. It's like, no, sir, you are not Batman, nor Bruce Wayne. But yeah, like I love all the little nods here and there with the Batman DC references, and it makes you really believe that James Gunn during filming knew like what was going to happen with him taking over DC. What is that now DCU or some kind of hint, you know? I mean,
yeah. I don't think.
we've slowly, but we've slowly gotten little hints here and there. Like in Eternals, there was a Batman reference, or was it a Superman reference? I can't remember which one at the moment.
There's a Batman. Yeah,
It
I
was
think there's
Batman,
actually
yeah,
both. Yeah,
yeah. And then
yeah.
this presentation had references to DC Batman, and I think there was one other. Was there one other movie that recently or show that had a reference to Bruce Wayne, DC Batman? Was it She Hulk? I can't remember off the
Maybe.
top of my head, but
Yeah, I can't
we're
remember
slowly
either.
getting a couple of more references that may suggest a future crossover, which I hope does not happen, but we'll see.
I think it will. I think it will eventually. Especially if James Gunn is in charge of DC, for a long time. I think it
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, but in reality, the only way it's going to happen is if Marvel is less successful, because that's like they don't need to have DC in their movies, right?
Right.
But in the future, I mean, it'd be a cool idea anyway, but I can see it happening. I think it's definitely going to happen like in the next 10 years. Don't be
For
surprised to see that.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick shout out to McDorks. What's up?
Yep.
Appreciate you being here. I think y'all watched Guardians Holiday Special. Let us know what you thought in the chat. And Mel says, we'll talk about this a little bit later, but she says she can't wait for the Wednesday podcast. Hint, hint. Yes, that is coming on Wednesday. But anyway,
Yes. Very, very creative the way you did that. So,
but I'm bummed.
yeah. I won't be a part of it because I haven't watched it. Honestly didn't even know what this was until y'all were all messaging about it. So,
Oh,
I'm not,
really? You hadn't
I'm not a Netflix person. You know this. Like, I don't dig their content really. So, I wasn't even aware of it. So anyway,
Okay.
but that's
All
later
right.
this week. Definitely check that out. I will not be on that, but other people will. So
Justin's been knocked down a couple pegs from my friendship status, so that's fine. It's fine.
I mean, how long have you known about this?
I've known about it for a long time. I knew about it when Jenna Ortega was announced to be Wednesday.
Okay.
So
I mean, I only know her because now she's like the social media darling, but I don't. What else has she done? Like, I don't know anything about
she's
her.
been in You. She's been in some HBO stuff. She's
Okay.
been doing some things. Anyway, that's a different pod for a different day.
Beside the point. Okay, let's get back to this. So before the Guardians leave California with Kevin Bacon, they go to a store. They buy a bunch of Christmas lights and decorations. They come back and they decorate nowhere. And then they lure Peter out to give him his gift, which turns out to be Kevin Bacon in a box.
Kevin Bacon in a box.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon in a box. I was waiting for your reaction. That's why I was like,
I know. I had to think about it. It's like bacon
Yeah.
in a box. Okay.
Yeah.
Bacon in a box.
So they decide, or Peter's like mortified at the fact that they kidnapped Kevin Bacon. Tells him, "Hey, we're gonna return you back to Earth. Don't worry about it." I did like the part where Kevin Bacon saw Rocket. He's like, "That's a talking raccoon," and of course,
And Rocket loses
Rocket
his
hates
mind.
being called a raccoon, even though he is a raccoon. And he's like, "I'll kill you! Don't you ever call me that?" Like.
Would he prefer to be a rabbit?
Well, the thing about Rocket is we found out, I believe was it Guardians 2 where we found out that, he's had this, he was created. He wasn't born, and he was, this is not what he wanted to be, basically. Anyway. So, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I just thought it was because like in Guardians 1 or 2, someone else calls him a raccoon. He flips out. So that's
he really does.
Definitely a part of his.
It's a very sore spot for him. I mean, just be who you are. Just be who you are.
One of the funnier moments of this was so Peter tells Kevin Bacon, "Hey, don't worry, we're gonna return you to Earth." And then he's like, "Don't run, Kevin Bacon. I can see you're not gonna run." And he's like, "Nope." And then of course he takes off running.
Yep.
And then Star-Lord sends the Guardians after Kevin Bacon, and Nebula was the best. She's like, "You can't outrun me, Bacon." Like, it was the way she said it was so funny.
I mean, out of all of them, I would kind of think that Nebula is probably the more lethal of the bunch.
Yeah.
And for her to make the threat of "you can't outrun me, Bacon" is first of all, just to say Bacon. You don't necessarily associate immediately with Kevin Bacon, the actor. You just think like the food bacon. Like, "You can't outrun me, Bacon." It's like, no, I don't want to. I love bacon.
No, I thought just the inflection in her voice was great. So
yeah.
They bring Kevin Bacon back. He ends up playing a song with the old 97s. The song is called Here It Is Christmas Time. So that's a pretty good kind of play out for it. And then we get to the gift giving portion of the special, which I thought was really cool. Star-Lord gives Groot an old school Game Boy because we know how much Groot loves video games. And then Nebula has the gift of all gifts. She gives Rocket Bucky's arm, which if you remember from Infinity War and Endgame, he said he was going to get that arm somehow. Yeah. Now, we talked about this offline, but let's get into it now. I don't think that actually was Bucky's arm, or if it was his actual arm, it's just for the joke of it. Like, I don't think we're ever going to get like any kind of explanation about the arm unless it's like a replica, like it's another arm or something. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea that Nebula did give Rocket something that he actually wanted, right? And it's comical, of course, because it begs the question: how in the world did she get Bucky's arm from him, and like, what is he going to do now that he doesn't have this arm? Because if I'm not mistaken, that arm is vibranium, and he got it from Wakanda when he was there, healing and trying to make sure that he couldn't be programmed again if someone said the words to activate the Winter Soldier. So I mean, that's a pretty big deal to take that arm from him, and it begs the question once again: what is he going to do now that he doesn't have the arm? I agree. I don't think it's the arm. I think the joke in itself is just to give Rocket something that he wanted, because that's obviously like the whole point of Christmas with the gift giving, is that you give someone something that they've wanted,
Yeah.
that they least expected. And I don't know, I think it was really sweet, because he just like held it up and he's like, Bucky's arm. And then she's just like, matter of factly, Merry Christmas, because Nebula doesn't have like a wide range of emotions, I guess
Yep.
you could say. So for her character to go out of her way and do that is, I don't know, it's just very, very cool. So yeah.
Hey, Brittany, could you post the message from McDorks about the Marvel Studios Legends? I want to talk about that real quick. So I
Yeah.
did hear about that, and so yeah, actually they posted their two of the um, Marvel's Legends of kind of like they're basically highlight videos. They're like about 7 to 10 minutes about characters, and they had Drax and Mantis each having an individual Marvel Studios Legends highlight tape,
Mhm.
and they took it down. I didn't even see it. I think it was only up for like a day, and it's gone. It's not up there
I
now.
did hear
They
about it.
removed it.
I
Yeah.
I didn't see it
Right.
myself, but I did see the big to do about it was taken down because of that big
Yeah.
reveal. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was it's unusual for Marvel to kind of do stuff like that, when things get leaked early, because that's not a typical Marvel slash Disney problem. That's more of an HBO problem, Game of Thrones. And so yeah, like that's a little unusual, unless that was just strategically done for publicity, marketing, you know.
I mean, usually those Marvel's Legends like those come out like the week whatever
Yeah,
the show comes out or the movie.
right.
Like for Black Panther, there's like three of them. There's one about T'Challa, there's one about the Dora Milaje, and there's one about Shuri.
Mhm.
And I've watched all of them. There's like 20 something of them, right?
Yeah.
So, I wish they would put those back on there because I wasn't even because it was a holiday week. Obviously, Thanksgiving was Thursday. I mean, I watched this on Friday when it came out,
Mhm.
but I wasn't even thinking about Disney Plus last week until it came out. So I missed whenever they posted those.
Ah,
Um, well, that's a
gotcha.
pretty good joke by McDorks.
Garbage
No,
of
leaked
Thrones. Oh,
by
sorry.
Bob Chapek, the former head of Disney, who got fired a
Yeah.
couple weeks ago. So
As a last revenge, that is hilarious.
maybe
That's
so.
pretty good. That's
That
pretty good.
that's a good theory. Um,
That's funny.
okay, so back to the special. We're getting to the end of it. Basically, Kevin Bacon says his goodbyes. They all kind of give a big hug, and I do like I said, Cosmo the Space Dog being voiced by Maria
Mhm.
Bakalova. I think she's great. Like her voice is so great for that character, and like the dog is super cute, and like
Yeah.
and now that character is actually one of the Guardians as opposed to
Mhm.
just a random character in the storyline.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we initially, because I mean, I don't know anything about like Marvel comics and superheroes and things like that. But initially, I thought like, oh, this is kind of like in the movie Up. There's a dog that has the ability to talk with its collar, and his name is Doug, and he's known for talking, and then he goes squirrel. And that's kind of what I thought maybe this was all about with her, like Cosmo the dog, because
yeah,
she apparently can like levitate things or has some sort of abilities. And then she tells Rocket off, right? About like, I'm not gonna, be talked to like this. And also I want that delicious treat that's, you know, or delicious food. And that totally made me think about my own dog,
yeah,
Luna, because she's so highly food motivated.
right.
And I'm like, yeah, I can relate to that. Yep. I know exactly what you mean, Cosmo, because my dog over here, same way. Same way.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
So
Appreciate it, Christian. Yes, smash the like button if you haven't done so already. Really appreciate it. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
yeah, we would very much appreciate it. Um, we see at this point Mantis reveals her secret to Star-Lord that her father is Ego, who is also his father. So they're obviously it's her half brother or his half sister or whatever.
Mhm.
So um, and Star-Lord basically says, "Hey, this is the greatest Christmas gift I could ever get." So very
Yeah.
sweet ending to this storyline, and kind of I mean, definitely like a perfect like in between the movies, and obviously in between uh, what happened in Thor and Love and Thunder. Obviously, the Guardians weren't in Love and Thunder for very long, but
Right.
this was kind of a good like way to progress the storyline just a little bit and kind of give us
Mhm.
a little bit of a taste of what to expect in Guardians Volume 3, which comes out May 5th, 2023. So
Yeah. One thing too, just really quickly, because at the time when Kevin is finally going to leave nowhere after he's done his little performance and the whole like meeting the Guardians and what have you, and he, big group hug and what have you, love you guys, walks away, turns around and says, I'll see you at Easter. Okay.
yeah,
And then the mid scene credit where we see Rocket and Groot, and is it Cosmo? There's one other character in there, I can't
yeah,
remember.
yeah. The mid,
Yeah,
yeah, it was Rocket and Cosmo. They're decorating Groot like a Christmas tree.
right, and Groot, by the way, has grown quite a bit,
Yes, yeah,
so I'm assuming by the time we get Guardians Volume 3, he's gonna be back to what we saw from volume 1, like full grown I am Groot.
right,
And he's standing there, arms outstretched, and he's being wrapped like as a Christmas tree. And then he puts his arms down, and Rocket's like, you ruined the holidays,
yeah,
and guess we'll have to have another special. So I'm wondering, because Kevin Bacon said, I'll see you at Easter.
mhm,
And then Rocket saying we have to have another special. I
right,
wonder if we'll get an Easter, quote unquote, special presentation. Maybe not necessarily
I,
this Easter,
right.
but a coming Easter.
Yeah, I mean that would be cool. I mean, James Gunn is going to be exclusive to DC after Guardians 3 drops.
Well,
So
that doesn't mean that they can't do a presentation with a different
no,
director. I mean,
well, but also there's a lot of talk, and these are just rumors. I don't have any kind of information, but there's a lot of rumors that we're going to lose characters in Guardians 3. People are going to
that's
die.
true.
So
That is very true.
I don't think all the Guardians are going to get wiped out in Volume 3, but I think we might lose a couple. I think Drax is probably the most likely.
Hmm.
And I do think we will see Dave Bautista in a DC film very soon. He'll be playing
Yeah.
something, whether he's like a Bane or something in a new Batman story, or I mean he could be a number of characters. So,
Yeah.
but no, I would love to see another special. This was I mean it was so much fun. Honestly, it was such a great time, and
Oh, he doesn't ever want to work for Disney again, says Christian, about Dave
yeah,
Bautista. Well,
yeah,
damn.
well, yeah, but then there's money. That thing, money,
Yeah, that's true.
it always brings people back usually. So
That's
we'll
fair.
see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, so that's how it ended. The mid credit scene.
Hmm.
So overall, Brittany, where does this I don't know.
Fall on my radar.
Yeah, fall. Where do you rank this? I'm so used to ranking stuff now after last
Oh,
week's episode. That's all I can think about is ranking this
we're
stuff.
we're
But
not ranking anything
we're not
anymore.
gonna rank it again. Yeah.
That
Well, now
was a
we
lot.
have our rankings. Now we can just add whenever a new movie comes along, we can just go, hey, is it better than this one? We'll
That's
vote on it, and
fair.
then it'll be there. So
I mean,
yeah,
sort of not really, because we have our personal rankings and we have to
yeah. But
do all that. Anyway, doesn't matter.
not in comparison to the movies. How do you think this ranks up there with Disney Plus content for Marvel?
I definitely think it's one of the better
Yeah,
Disney Plus content that has been provided to us as of late. I mentioned at the top of the show that I think, had some of these TV series, be it limited or not, I think had it been done as a special presentation with under an hour, I think they might have been a little bit more successful uh, in just terms of storytelling. I think, and it pains me to say this because I really love the characters, but Justin, and many out here too, that Falcon and the Winter Soldier did not hit for me because of the Flag Smashers, or whatever they're called, storyline. Like,
right.
I know that was a last minute change because of what was going on in the world at the same time, but I feel like had that whole series been done as a special presentation, I think it probably would have been a little bit more successful. But I think I think for me, because as a non-Guardians fan, like I said, the runtime, it got quick to the point. It was silly, of course, but it was entertaining. I thought the music was great. It ranks pretty high for me. I mean, it ranked extremely high for me when it comes to Guardians. It's going to be this special presentation, volume 1, then volume 2. So I'm happy. So yeah, runtime of 44 minutes actually was the sweet spot for me. So Christian here says, no offense to the ranking, but it's hard sometimes because many of the movies has its different tone. I can't really compare Loki with WandaVision. This is why I don't like to rank. That's fair. That's fair, but the rankings that we're referring to was all MCU movies,
Just
not
the
the TV
movies.
shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you can. I mean, I don't think you can rank the movies with the TV shows because they're just different mediums, and it's a 6-episode series is not the same as a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
But I think that. Go ahead.
I was going to say real quick, I think for WandaVision, for the majority of us here on the Watchers, that's kind of like in its own, like the creativity behind it, it's its own. Loki is kind of in its own, but I mean, you kind of have to kind of put them together because they all are TV shows, even if it's just a limited series, like a one-off, versus like Wanda was a one-off, Loki's going to have another season, so on and so forth. So we'll see, we'll see how things go with that. But for you, Justin, how did Guardians Holiday Special go for you?
It's right up there with like WandaVision and Loki for me for like the best stuff on Disney Plus. I keep wanting to say Marvel Plus, but for on Disney Plus, I think it was just very well done, and it was James Gunn kind of has a special sauce to all his stuff. Like Peacemaker was very good. I love the Suicide Squad movie. His Guardians movies obviously have a certain tone, and I like how he kind of has that same feel. The music obviously plays a huge part in all these projects. And this delivered all that. So I think this was like kind of the perfect holiday Marvel, thing they could put out there. So it was, I'm a big fan of it. I watched it a couple of times. I think I'll probably watch it a few more times. Honestly, it was very entertaining.
Telling you, the music was just great. Like
music was great.
It was so good. It was so good. And I know, like I said, that the sound is a little bit more your speed because I know you're kind of more into that kind of alt. What is it? Punk. Kind of,
I mean, it's
kind of
rock,
vibe,
but it's like alt country,
rock,
pop rock,
which it's definitely more your speed. I mean, I don't not like it. It's not necessarily the first thing on my mind, but I really, like I said, I really enjoyed the music overall. I enjoyed seeing Kevin Bacon being introduced, I guess, into the MCU, and it's like, why? Like, Kevin Bacon does not need an introduction. Like, he is Kevin Bacon. I mean, he saved a town just by dancing. If that's not heroic, I don't know what is. I mean, come on. He inspired Quill to do the same in volume 1. And it's just magical. No. No, I did enjoy this. I might watch it again. I think John has not watched it, so I'll see if he wants to watch it again. But yeah, this for me, this has rewatchability, unlike unlike the other 2 Guardian movies for my personal taste. But so Yesenia here says that she would watch this more often than Hawkeye's 6 episodes. Hawkeye may not have hit for everyone. Mel says she didn't particularly care for Hawkeye. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I liked the camaraderie between Kate Bishop and Clint. I thought that was great. That's opening up other doors for Echo, of course, and then I'm sure Kingpin's going to come back in Daredevil when that comes back on. So I mean, it's gonna be great. But I mean, I liked Hawkeye, but I think those type series, once again, may have been a little bit more successful had it been done as a special presentation.
Yeah, maybe. And Hawkeye was also around this time of the year. It was
it was.
It was 6 episodes, and it went into like Christmas kind of time. So it was like holiday Christmas theme. So I thought it was done pretty well. I enjoyed it, but I thought I liked this better. I think this was a better project overall. But
yep, I agree.
Yeah. So before we get out of here, let's talk about what's next for Marvel. Just looking at the calendar. So the next thing, the start of Phase 5, is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. That movie will come out on February 17th, 2023. The next Disney Plus show is Secret Invasion, which is scheduled to premiere in early 2023. They don't have a date yet. It will also be a 6-episode series.
Now, is that the one that has Emilia Clarke?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Emilia Clarke,
Mother of Dragons.
Yes, Samuel L. Jackson. There's a ton of people in that show, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then once again, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will come out May 5th, 2023. So
we're just like, eh.
Yeah. So now you've heard what we think about Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. We want to know what you think about it. And Brittany, how can people let us know how they feel about the Guardians Holiday Special?
By a couple of things. We do highly encourage everyone to join us in the live chat when we do reviews on various things, TV shows, movies, etc. You get the idea. Just like the people here in the chat. We've got McDorks, who's looking forward to Ant-Man, Quantumania. We've got Yesenia here, who has been a long time follower of the Watchers in the Basement. We also have Geeking Out with Melly Mel. Appreciate you being here, even though you hadn't watched this presentation. I think you should. I think you might actually enjoy it. It's a 45-minute run. It's not that bad. And then also all the way from the UK, we had Nick and Claire from Walking with the Woods. So we appreciate all of you being here. But if you're doing the replay, be sure to 1, like this video, 2, subscribe to us if you haven't already, 3, leave your comment in the comments section down below. And you can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Search Watchers Basement. You can also use the hashtag to help grow our audience and share our tweets, send us articles, send us memes. We love memes and things of that nature. Ooh, pardon me. And lastly, we also have audio podcasts that you can access through Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, thanks to Anchor.fm. Be sure to give us a 5-star rating. It helps out our channel, the algorithm. You know how that stuff kind of works out, right? But be sure to, once again, follow us here on YouTube. We are on the road to 200 subscribers. Last I checked, Justin, we're at 162. We're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there. So, and last plug-in before we sign off, we do have more episodes, live chats happening this week. Tomorrow, Tuesday, November 29th, we've got the next episode of Yellowstone being covered by Frank and company. Wednesday, we'll be covering the Netflix series Wednesday. Right. Amber will be back joining me and hopefully Tristan to cover that. And then Friday, hopefully, we'll see. We're going to get George and Frank back on to talk about Gangs of London, the AMC show. It's like a modern day Game of Thrones. It's amazing. It's so good. So yeah, that's what we have coming this week. So be sure to tune in to any one of those pods or all of them. You know what? Just join all of them. Yep. More views, the better. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers, tell the people on the street about us. And we would appreciate that.
Yes, we would. Thank you, Brittany. So for Brittany, this is Justin saying we will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a good evening.